good? The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. The Honorable Fable Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information. Rihanna Robinson, Philip Brown, Ministry and Embassy officials, other specially invited guests, media, good morning. I'm Scott Feakin, Chargé d'Affaires at the United States Embassy in Kingston. I'm happy to be joined by my colleague, Dr. Baru Dede, Acting Deputy Chief of Mission and Director. It is my great pleasure to announce that the first delivery of 208,260 doses of the Pfizer vaccine from the United States has arrived in Jamaica. As President Biden has said, the United States is committed to bringing the same urgency to international vaccination efforts that we have demonstrated at home. Thanks to the ingenuity of U.S. scientists and the resilience and commitment of the American people, we can now help others in the fight against the COVID virus. We are sharing these vaccines to save lives and to lead the world in bringing an end to the pandemic. The Pfizer vaccine has been proven safe and effective against COVID-19 and all known variants. In addition to the 208,260 vaccines that arrived today, additional shipments with similar amounts will be delivered to Jamaica in the near future. I understand that the government of Jamaica plans to use many of these doses of vaccine to vaccinate secondary school students across the country. Students like Rihanna and Philip, who are with us here today. We're very happy to know that this donation will make it possible for Jamaica to expand its vaccination program to include young people, which will help facilitate a move to in-person instruction for students and teachers. Highly effective vaccines like the ones behind me save lives, and I am encouraged by the progress that the government of Jamaica has made on its vaccination program. I join with the Prime Minister and people like Dr. Sandra Lindsay, a Jamaican-American medical professional who was the first American to be vaccinated for COVID, and encouraging all Jamaicans to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Vaccination is our best path forward in combating the COVID-19 virus. We are thankful to the many people in the United States, Jamaica, and our partners in the Caribbean who made this shipment possible. I want to give special thanks to our Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy, John McIntyre, who is on a well-deserved break with his family and is out of the country today. He spent many hours coordinating the delivery of these vaccines with people in Washington and our counterparts in Jamaica, and was vital in making today's donations happen. This is a unique moment in history, and it requires U.S. leadership. We will continue to do all we can to build a world that is safer and more secure against the threat of infectious diseases. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me acknowledge the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness, His Excellency Mr. Scott Feakin, Chargé at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, Rihanna Robinson of Immaculate High School, Philip Brown from Haile Selassie High School, members of the media, good morning everyone. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information welcomes this generous gift of over 600,000 doses of Pfizer vaccines which have been prioritized for children in our schools. This is a very important development in our collective effort to ensure that more of our people get vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus. I know many parents and teachers are anxious to see the education sector return to normality or as near normal operations as possible, and a public education campaign to encourage parents to get their children vaccinated is one of the vehicles we are using to get more people to embrace this important public health initiative. All Jamaicans know and understand the current phase of the pandemic with which we are facing. The variant and the current COVID-19 numbers make this a very critical phase in doing all we can to prevent further spread. To date, we know that some 68% or so of our teachers have been vaccinated with at least one dose of the vaccine. This vaccination rate far outpaces that of the general population. All our stakeholders in the education sector want to see our children back in the face-to-face mode, back in the classrooms with their teachers and their classmates, and so this gift will most certainly help us in this effort. In a recent survey we did upon learning of the generous gift of the Pfizer vaccines, we're happy to report that when asked if they would give consent for their child or ward to take the 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccines 3 weeks apart, approximately 59% of parents are willing to have their child or ward vaccinated. More important, when asked if they accompany their child or ward to be vaccinated, and they as parents are not vaccinated, would they be willing to be vaccinated along with their child or ward? And 64% of parents said they're willing to be vaccinated along with their children. This suggests that we will have significant take-up, if not full take-up, of these vaccines. Later today, our ministry will host a joint press conference with the Ministry of Health and Wellness to provide more details with regards to how and where our students and parents and teachers will have the opportunity to be vaccinated starting this weekend. So once again, thank you, Honourable Prime Minister, Senator Johnson Smith, Minister Tufton, Charge d'Affaires, for this collective effort. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to be here together with the Prime Minister and Cabinet colleagues and representatives of the government of the United States of America to accept on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica this generous gift of Pfizer vaccines. In fact, the first of at least 3 shipments which will come bearing the precious commodity. I wanted to note publicly and acknowledge that while we received the vaccines today, we already last week received gifts of Pfizer support kits, including diluents and syringes and other material necessary for the effective delivery of the Pfizer vaccine. So this morning, we not only express thanks for the doses themselves, but for the supporting material that has also been provided generously by the government of the United States of America. We also wish to recognize that this gift is yet part of the United States support for global public health and the COVID-19 response of many countries, including Jamaica. It delivers on a commitment made by President Biden not only to the world and to global public health, but to CARICOM countries. We express appreciation for the time spent by Secretary Blinken in meeting with CARICOM foreign ministers to discuss matters including the need for vaccines, as well as a National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, who similarly met with CARICOM foreign ministers to discuss such matters. We want to recognize that the U.S. response, our support for Jamaica's response to COVID-19 has also included almost $4 million United States dollars worth of testing kits, testing equipment, mobile field hospitals, and other equipment which has supported our public health infrastructure. This is all a demonstration of the strong bilateral relationship which has continued for years. As a matter of fact, starting with diplomatic representation or recognition on August 6, 1962, at the independence, which we have just recently celebrated. So again, we celebrate the friendship between the United States and Jamaica, between the United States and CARICOM countries. And again, we thank not only President Biden and Vice President Harris and their respective teams, but we thank the CARICOM Secretariat, the CARFA team, as well as the team of the United States Embassy and CDC that has worked so strongly with us throughout the pandemic. So thank you all for being here and for covering this matter which is of such great importance to both our countries. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Prime Minister, members of the U.S. government, colleague, ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I think it is now fair to conclude by all that vaccines and the availability of vaccines in Jamaica is no longer the issue. It was an issue for some time. Now it's not the case. What we now have is the challenge of taking vaccines to the people and getting the people, the Jamaican people, in their interest to take the vaccines. And so my message here today is simple and straightforward. Firstly, I want to thank, as my colleagues did, the United States government for this contribution of Pfizer vaccine, 600,000+ doses over the next number of months. And secondly, I want to encourage the Jamaican people from all communities to see the vaccines as a very important part of their protection, and let us vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. Thank you very much. God bless.
Good morning, everyone. Let me acknowledge the United States Consul General, the acting Charge Affairs, Mr. Blinken, Mr. Feakin, I promoted you, Mr. Feakin, and the Deputy, Mr. Dr. Dede. Ministers of government who are here, and I want to especially highlight our student ambassadors who are here promoting the taking of vaccines as youngsters, because it is in their interest, because they want to go back to school. And they are here today in their respective uniforms. And I said to them on my arrival, you must be so happy to be in uniform once again. And you can see they are nodding and smiling underneath their masks. They're very happy at the prospect of returning to school. But I want to start by saying a heartfelt thank you to President Biden, Vice President Harris, the entire United States government, and the people of the United States for this very generous donation of Pfizer vaccine, which you are seeing behind me here, almost 210,000 doses of vaccines, the first installment of over 600,000 doses, which will be given to the government of Jamaica. These vaccines will be used primarily to target our youth population to enable them to go back to school. I'm certain as well that there would be consideration for certain segments of the population that have special comorbidities and special considerations, but you will hear more about that from the Ministry of Health. Today, I want to encourage all Jamaicans, as we have been doing over the past few months, to take the vaccines. The government of Jamaica will not consider at this time any path of mandatory vaccination. However, the government of Jamaica will engage in an effective, consistent public education campaign to appeal to the reasonable-minded Jamaicans, to appeal to Jamaicans who are uncertain, to appeal to Jamaicans who may have some hesitancy, and to appeal to Jamaicans who may be nonchalant, really don't care, that it is in your best interest and it is in the country's best interest for everyone to take the vaccines. Just yesterday, I read in one of our daily newspapers of a young lady who did not take the vaccine, had the opportunity to take the vaccine, and who unfortunately perished as a result of being infected by the coronavirus and developing a severe case of COVID-19. Those stories are multiplied right across Jamaica. The Ministry of Health will tell you, and the medical professionals on the front line will tell you, that the persons who are being infected by the coronavirus and developing severe and even fatal cases of COVID-19 are those persons who are not vaccinated. You need no more evidence, no more convincing other than that. We now are struggling with the confirmed presence of a new, more virulent, more transmissible variant of the coronavirus. That variant would probably be the cause of the increased numbers of infection, our increased positivity rate, and our increasing R0. We are now at a stage where the number of hospitalizations are challenging the capacity of our health system. In fact, the majority of our hospitals are over their capacity. Our healthcare workers are stretched and they are stressed. We are now at a point where the government has to consider even further tightening up, because it is clear that the messages that we have been communicating regarding personal responsibility, wearing of masks, social distancing, keeping and observing the curfew hours, limited movement, limited events, that these messages are not being heeded with great faithfulness. So in the coming days, the government will have to consider even tighter measures. This is something that we loathe doing because we understand the impact that it has on livelihoods and freedoms. However, there is also a clear and present danger, a real threat to lives and livelihoods and freedoms if we are not able to contain this third wave of the pandemic outbreak of the coronavirus and the COVID-19 disease that it causes in Jamaica. So once again, let me thank our friends from the United States. Again, my personal and deep thanks and appreciation to President Biden, Vice President Harris, the entire United States government, represented here by the Charge d'Affaires and the Deputy. Let me also say thanks to the people of the United States, including members of our own diaspora who work behind the scenes as well in looking out for the interests of the region and for Jamaica. Again, thank you.